week's business tip of the week. So today we're going to talk about Parkinson's law. And Parkinson's law is quite interesting and perhaps one of the most powerful principles that you can learn when it comes to time mastery. And what Parkinson's law states is that work will expand to fill the time available for its completion. So in other words, what this means is that if you're assigned a project or if you assign a project to a staff member, that regardless of how much time you give them, they're going to take that amount of time to complete that assignment. And so if you give them, in this first example here, 2 hours to complete, then they're going to require a lot of effort. They're going to have to work harder. They're going to have to work faster. They're going to have to be more on point and more sharp with their thinking, but perhaps they're going to be able to accomplish it. If you give them 3 hours to accomplish the same task, it's going to require obviously more time, but less effort on their part, and most likely it'll take up to 3 hours. And if you give them 8 hours to complete the same project, then as you can see, the effort goes further down. And most likely, if that's what you give them to do and you tell them that they got 8 hours to do it, then most likely they're not going to complete the assignment in 2 hours and then ask you to do more. Most likely they're going to fill up the entire 8 hours with that project. So if you think about that, why is that so important for us to understand and to recognize for ourselves and even when running a business? Let's use the example of Elon Musk, one of today's most popular and also most successful billionaires out there. And if you follow his work at all and really even follow his companies, Elon Musk is known for not only innovative technology and creativity and disrupting industries, but he's also notorious for missing deadlines. And people that have actually studied his way of thinking and managing and leading teams, what they realize is that the reason why he misses deadlines so often is because he sets very ambitious deadlines for himself, his teams, and his companies. And so although that might not be good when trying to forecast the value of his stock, and it probably drives Wall Street crazy, but in the end, people believe that he's been able to accomplish so much more than the average person simply because he creates these crazy deadlines for himself and his companies and his teams, and that's partially, the secret for his success is having a deadline for everything and making that deadline so ambitious that even if he misses the deadline, he still accomplishes things much faster than if he had all the time in the world. So why is that important for us? Is that if we're looking to become a better business owner, more successful, run a better business, make more money, et cetera, you got to think about, most of us come up through the corporate world or at least have had a job first before we start our own business. And when we work for someone else, one of the things that we're accustomed to is them telling us what to do, how to do it. And they typically give us deadlines and goals, right? So the goals and the deadlines and how to do things, it's assigned to us, it's given to us, and we have to complete that work. Now, when you become a business owner and you are now in charge, you have to do the same thing for yourself and you have to do it for your employees. Because if you don't set goals, if you're not clear as to how things need to get done, and if you don't create a ambitious deadline, then most likely they will fill up the time, all the time that you give them in order to complete that task, right? Because they're going to want to use the least amount of effort. Why would they strain themselves? Why would they, work as fast and as sharp as possible if they don't have to, right? So it's really up to us to make sure that our team members are working at a much higher level, playing the game at a much higher level for an extended period of time so that things can get done better and faster. Otherwise, they're just going to take up all the space that they have, all the time that they have. And it's the same thing for ourselves. So we have to have clear set of goals, but we also have to create these deadlines for ourselves. Because if you're looking to achieve some pretty amazing things in the either week to come or year to come, but you don't give yourself a specific deadline, a deadline that is ambitious, then if there's really no hard deadline to achieve, then most likely it will either not get done or get done in a longer period of time. So the three lessons there is everything needs a deadline. Make sure that it's an ambitious deadline. Make sure that you're not filling up time. So all of a sudden, if you had an appointment that canceled, and all of a sudden you just got an hour back in your day that you didn't account for, what are you doing with that hour? Are you now working slower for the remainder of the day because you have that same hour, or are you going to work with the same level of intensity and actually maximize what you can do with that hour that you got back? Okay, because the ideal thing is that we want to be able to play the game at that higher level of intensity, which here on this illustration it looks like effort. um, we're going to sometimes achieve higher quality, higher results, and we're certainly going to be able to do more with our time if we're basically, racing against a clock, whatever clock that might be. And then the last thing is, it's not just for you but also for your team. Make sure that you're setting goals and deadlines, and that those goals and deadlines are not comfortable. By nature, they have to be somewhat ambitious in order for us to achieve more. That's this week's tip of the week. Thanks for watching.